Yep, I'm ready. I'm just trying to pull up your.
This guy actually has a harvester.
Good morning, everybody. Couple chairs here, guys. We don't have to wait in the hallway. There's one right here. There's one next to Harvest, two next to Ben. There's one right here next to Elliot. Just in case we got any late stragglers. Yeah, no one wants to sit next to Ben or Larry. Okay, so this week's code of conduct is respect the property of others. I was hoping to have a really good presentation that kind of talks about this code. Dave Ag, Vermont Gas, but he actually called me on my way in, and he's alarm clock issue, so he'll be here next week. So I had to kind of put together something quick, so hopefully it's informative, and we'll talk more in detail with it. So we'll keep going forward. So another 7 days without recordable. Excellent. We're up to that 105 number now. Again, our exposures are just going to constantly increase. We got a lot of work coming up, and it's going to be a lot of coordination and a lot of working together. And remember, just a simple equation that we're really trying to strive this year: eliminate unsafe acts, eliminate those unsafe conditions, because those two are the causal factors to accidents out there: unsafe acts, unsafe conditions. If you can keep identifying that, keep working safe, this number is going to keep ticking, and hopefully we can maybe get to that 365 number. So this week was going to be Dave Attic, but we're going to quickly talking about cave-in protection, the regulations that are set for us from OSHA. So I'll quickly go into that. So excavations, we've been talking a lot about that subsurface 0 to 3, 0 to 4 feet. Those are kind of that utility strike zone. Once we get to 5 feet, now this is where we have to follow the OSHA regulations. This is something that's mandated by the government and also the state of Vermont, that we have to make sure that we are protecting our workers at that 5 foot level. So it's kind of excavation by standard. So 5 feet, everyone should trigger. Once we're down 5 feet, we need protection. And now we're going to get into the next couple of weeks about what kind of different protective systems that we can use, but I'll quickly talk about them now. We're either going to slope or we're going to have a trench box. Those are our two methods to protect workers in a 5 foot trench or excavation. Now, 2 feet is our spoil pile, our excess earth, or anything that could potentially cave in or come into our excavation is 2 feet. So we want to make sure we're keeping everything 2 feet away. That's that 2 foot level. 18 inches. Now 18 inches is freeboard when it comes to trench box, trench box protection. Top of the box to any TOA slope, if we have any sloping above the box, is that 18-inch level. Then that 1.5 to 1, that is type C soil when it comes to sloping, type C. Once we're at that 5 earth, that's 1 foot horizontal by 1.5 foot vertical. So it's really a 34% slope when it comes to proper protection.
The other way. Yes.
I'm sorry.
1.5 horizontal, 1 vertical.
Yes. I'm sorry. Thanks again. 1.5 vertical by 1 foot horizontal. I got you.
1.5 vertical.
Yeah, horizontal, 1 foot vertical. I'm sorry. I'm a little flustered because I do this last second. And then that last one is that 20 foot. All right, these are that kicker. Anytime that we have to be 20 feet in the ground, we need to have a registered professional engineer stamp this protection system for us to use. And we don't get into this too much, but it is out there. We need to make sure that, if it's a deep sewer tie-in or anything, that we stop and reassess, making sure that we have it. That is definitely a regulation because there's a lot of dangers anytime you're digging that deep into the ground. I know this was a little loose, but is there any questions? I think the biggest thing is that 5 foot. I can't stress that enough. That's really the number one regulation that gets cited by contractors throughout America, is when guys jump in a 5-foot trench without protection. It's a dead giveaway. OSHA's and VOSHA, this is going to be number 4 most cited standard in 2019 is going to be excavations. They're going to get out there. They're going to stop. They're going to inspect. So we got to make sure that we do our due diligence, that we plan ahead with our excavations, making sure we have the proper protected system readily available whenever we're deeper than that 5 foot.
In less than 5 doesn't guarantee safety.
That is true. That is the regulation. Yeah, I mean, we still have to do our risk assessment if we're in really wet soils and we're starting to see some cave in. Let's slope it. Let's put a trench box in, even at that 4 foot level. Yep. Joe Appleton has a quick thing. Is there any questions before we move forward? No. Joe Appleton has a little thing on foundation that he wants to bring to our attention.
Yeah, we just thought we'd take a few minutes to go through a few things that we're seeing out in the field, just to kind of get everybody going in the right direction as things ramp up. So two things I'm going to talk about. One of them, notes. Make sure the guys who are putting in their time or the guys who are helping their foreman put in time for the crew, put in the notes as well. You know, remember the old daily reports had the labor hours, the equipment hours, and it had that section for notes below it. So make sure we were using that notes tool on the side, and make sure you're typing in, what you did for the day. Start and stop times are really important too. That helps us understand when things are taking place. Subs that were on the site, visitors, materials used or purchased, and things like that. So make sure every single day or every single job that you have some type of a note like that. And those notes are as a project manager, I rely on those notes to help bill our jobs and make sure we have all the backup we need to get paid. And use it to make sure, to hold the clients to requirements and let them know, what we performed and when we performed it, and we have that record of work performed. So it's really important, especially in time and material jobs. It's, without that note, oftentimes our clients are like, fighting us. And so we don't want to fight to get paid. We want to fight to get the next job and go to the next job. So notes. Mr. Bell.
The notes, treat that as the form on the old work performed. Wish we could change it. But it is work performed. Treat that as that's the only thing on the daily. With your time cards, there is put some notes in there. The problem is we have a hard time finding those when we're trying to build jobs, look at them. We have to actually, the only place we can find those is in submitted time. Never can find those again. So if you're doing a job, use this notes to put the description of what you did, rather than you can put a brief one on your time card, but we can't discover that. We can't export it into the daily reporting spreadsheets that we look at do the job.
Whether you're doing a grid time card for your crew or if you're doing a group time card, either one is acceptable. Just make sure we still get those notes in for the day. And you can make a dozen notes for the day if you wanted to. You can just make one and you can save it, and then you can go back and edit it, over the course of the day, or add some more notes the next morning. You got 1,000 characters there too, so you're not going to max it out like you will quickly on the time card notes. Yes, Matt.
Randy Plato was telling me he does that by talking.
Yep. So
he had the best notes of everybody on a couple of jobs we did. And I said, oh my God, I can't do this for him. And he told me he did it because he used the dictation function on his tablet.
if anyone wants to see how that can be used, come see myself or Justin or Matt. It's just very quick. You hit the microphone and then like you're talking to your coworker about what you did.
And we also entering. Every time you hit enter, when you hit enter here, you use
Yeah, exactly. So don't hit enter every time you do a new line, if that makes sense. We haven't run into any issues on the notes, but on the time card sometimes.
Oh, I brought that.
Any other questions or feedback on it? And then the other one, submitted time report. So we all got to own our time, right? And for the foremen who are putting in time for the rest of the crew, you got to own their time. And then for those of you who have a working for a foreman who's putting in your time, you got to make sure you own your time, and he has the ability to make sure it's right, make sure everyone's fine before it gets submitted every day and every week. So I know a lot of people are using it. For those of you, maybe just a reminder. that if you go to reports, you go to a minute time report. It's a report where you can go and you can pick a date range. You can pick your project. You can pick whatever employees you're most interested in that are working with you. You can go and review all their time for the work week, for the last week, for a month ago,
If they can see us,
yesterday.
if they can see us,
The
Well, how can you tell if you're watching
you
it?
can filter it
and then there's a whole list of people that are in it.
different ways, however you want to look at it. So this is a very good tool. You go here definitely before Monday morning, before the time gets brought into the main system to get processed for payroll. You want to go through and review that and make sure everything looks good on your end, that everybody's accounted for every day, and everybody's got out, at least 8 hours for that Monday through Friday. And if guys were off, make sure we get the ATO or no ATO time put in. And then just make sure there's no double entries. We've seen that a few times. There's been a couple instances where nobody's fault. Two entries showed up. So we want to make sure that doesn't screw up the system either. So, any questions on that? Or you want to have somebody show you, myself, Justin, Matt, or Ben, all the PMs know. Well, come and see us. See how to do that.
One thing on that that's nice is it'll remember the settings. So when I was doing Larry's guys, I just put all his guys on there when Larry was gone. And then when I opened it up,
Rejects get on there all week.
and so if
Yeah. They had
and they had it okay. So I just turn it on and I look at it, and
It's still wearing it. 1 o'clock.
it helps when you're improving the time.
Exactly.
It doesn't look great now, where we upload it up front.
Exactly.
It is.
Exactly. And then you can also see what the status is. If it's still, if you have a bunch of your time cards pending Monday morning, you might want to call the project manager and see if they can get on it. Mark. Yep, that's the time. That's the time we can edit it when it's still pending. The project manager of that particular project.
I'll get your traffic data, and then that's all. That's all.
No, not but you can call the project manager. He can either edit it for you, and if you tell him what you need, if you say, "Oh, I picked the wrong cost code," or "I need to adjust the hours," or you could just tell the project manager, and then he can send it. It can get routed back to you, where then once it's approved, then it's shipped up to the main database, and then it's a little. We can't do it anymore. We've got to get Sarah and Ursula to modify the overwrite the system, if you will, in the main database. So, but yeah, so that pending state is the time to make sure that if you get catch it before it gets approved, which if we're all doing it on a daily basis, then we don't give ourselves much time. But
This screen is very handy for a foreman. If you've got a guy that visited and also worked for another foreman, when you see this, projects
exactly.
for a certain time.
Exactly.
I remember 4 hours or 5 hours. What did Rob Smith have in the morning? And look at this report and see what he inputted for Rob.
Yep. Exactly. So, and then any of the guys, this is the time card live for the week, so anyone should be able to call it up and be able to look at it. With Daryl?
Faces it and does it right, noise or PTO for a guy for a day. Is there an alert that comes up to you guys? There's no 8 hours show?
No, it's
Or is it just that goes through with a no ATO?
nope. So if you don't submit anything on a day, there's no alert except for us who are kind of building into our habits of going through and making sure everyone's got time every day. If you submit a time card, basically you have to select a cost code or an earn code. So I guess if you exact for it to be submitted, so you can't.
If he goes through and somebody was out a day and foreman put in that day because he wasn't there, no ATO.
The system won't do anything in that case, except hopefully me as a reviewer, or maybe Sarah or Megan catch it, and then at least we're going to get on the phone and say, hey, did he work or didn't? Maybe they didn't work, or maybe it was with somebody else's crew that day and they forgot to put him in because it was kind of a one-off type scenario.
Upstairs, they're building it into their process to kind of review that.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
Many times they call people to say, hey, you got nothing on Tuesday.
so our protocol exactly is to make a phone call and find out, and not assume ATO or assume no ATO or anything like that. Exactly, same thing. So every day, at least that Monday through Friday, we want to make sure everybody's got 8 hours of something, whether it be, charging time to the job you were working on, or whether it be ATO or no ATO. Exactly, even if it is unpaid. Exactly. So then we at least know that, okay, you're accounted for 40 hours a week.
And it's a way of reporting that, hey, I didn't work and I don't want money.
Exactly. Then if you work Saturday or Sunday, we got to make sure that gets in, and that gets communicated. Any other questions or comments? Yep.
I wondered if you've got an emergency job like a repair, or you look at the job number. If you did a job at your back and you
He's underwater right now.
it's in the record job number there, but it won't say where. If I need a job number, where I got to go post that.
Sounds like that.
But for instance, yesterday we were at Intercity Battery. And I know the job number, and I don't know which one. Because now it says it is water.
Yep. And that's good, and that's very good feedback for us. Then we need to make sure that the description on the job is as self-explanatory as possible. So that's something that we can work on internally, and then obviously any questions, call somebody, I guess. But point taken though. That's good feedback. Thank you. Anything else? Everyone's doing a hell of a job, so keep it up. And any questions, just keep them coming. We're gonna, don't be satisfied if something's not working for you, or if you're struggling with something. We've got some extra tools. We've got keyboards to go with the tablets if that's something that's helpful. Want to make sure everyone's got the right setup for themselves.
So let me first recognize that our safety director seems to never have alarm clock problems. Right? Good job.
Try not to.
And a dog. Dog's probably as good as anything. Okay, for announcements, we have a new hire, Anthony Roshu, I guess. Is that correct? Is Anthony here? But I see Lefty's here. I don't think you were here the time we introduced you. Okay, welcome, Lefty. Yeah. So the project we're profiling this week is a Hoosick Falls auger bore, and we were contracted by a general contractor that must have been the sewer. Sewer, what are we doing? Tom here? Got Tom here? Must be watching. So we were contracted with this here, Lucy and Brothers, contracting to install a 36-inch, 50-foot-long casing under the Pan Am in Hoosick Falls. And the general contractor then installed a carrier pipe inside the casing and dropped the annular space. So it was, it says it was online and trade. Done by us as a subcontractor, and we used the.
I was using bricks and letting the water run through it.
Is that Tom trying to answer? I hear sound in the background there. So there we are, the short pic that they provided for us. And we did a nice quick in and out of their auger bore under the railroad again. And looks like a nice clay type material that and of course lots of larger casings. And then we have a photo from the archives. This was actually from the end of what's your road? What's your road? Yeah, well, the White Beach Road actually. This is West Shore Road, and that's at the dock there, the kind of semi-public dock that the people use out to Providence Island. Yep, we're unloading the 120 here. This is probably around 2000. And I think Craig Chamberlain was probably involved.
Do we own that or we borrowed it?
Yep, it's a barge, and he owned the barge rental. So anyway, happy Easter, everybody, and Good Friday and everything, and good luck with the Easter egg hunt.
How'd you like that?
Okay.
Oh, you're not that. Jeff Barber. Richard Barber. Dylan Bates.